Hey there, YouTube. How's everybody doing out there today? Same old here. Super hot. I just got back from running some errands, buying some groceries in town. Got another watermelon. And yeah, just ready for the weekend to be here. Although I think we're going to get some rain this weekend. Listen, apologies in advance. The neighbors she's been mowing her yard next door, and I kind of tried to wait, but the particular neighbor, bless her heart, she might mow, she might stop for a while, she might finish it tomorrow, she might finish it this afternoon. So I just figured I'd go ahead and do it. So hopefully a little bit of buzzing in the background won't bother people. But today we're going to talk about kindness and living beyond judgment. I'm going to do a little reading from the Tao and talk about it a little bit. And the reason that I usually read from this particular book, which I read from, which is Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, by Dr. Wayne Dyer, where he goes through the Tao for a year, and he kind of lived it, wrote his thoughts down on each one of them, had some good perspective on it. And a lot of times that's what I'll do, because I've been reading the Tao for definitely over 30 years. And sometimes when I'm kind of in the mood to do this type of a video, I think about what I'm thinking about, what I'm working on in my day-to-day life. And then I go to Google and I search whatever the subject is, and then the Tao, and it usually takes me to just the perfect wisdom. And I'm going to read the translation from this book today. Normally I have my little copy of the Tao that I read from, because it just happens to be my preference. I like that, but this is a good version too. So, and it's the 49th verse of the Tao, if you'd like to go read it later yourself. The sage has no fixed mind. He is aware of the needs of others. Those who are good, he treats with goodness. Those who are bad, he also treats with goodness, because the nature of his being is good. He is kind to the kind. He is also kind to the unkind, because the nature of his being is kindness. He is faithful to the faithful. He is also faithful to the unfaithful. The sage lives in harmony with all below heaven. He sees everything as his own self. He loves everyone as his own child. All people are drawn to him. He behaves like a little child. Now, a lot of times when I'll talk about these things, people say, oh yeah, that's easier said than done, or I'm working on it. And that's all it's ever going to be. We're all just working on certain things in life. But this is a very specific lesson for me. Most of the time I don't engage, but I'm even kind of working on how I think and how my mind goes. Like if I'm in social media, or if I see somebody saying something that I consider to be heinous and I want to come back at them. Now, I never engage. I never get involved in that stuff, whether it's comment sections on social media, whether it's mine or whether it's others. But sometimes I got voices in my head. I think I've told you guys before. I have that little snarky one in the back of my head, just like not being very kind to that person. So he is also kind to the unkind, because the nature of his being is kindness. And that's what it really boils down to. I think just it goes, because the nature of his being is good, because the nature of his being is kindness. It's not about what the other person does. It's about who you are, even when you're responding to people. And you don't necessarily let other people dictate who you are, where you come from, whether you come from a place of kindness, whether you come from a place of love. So sometimes, and I'm like that, man, I'm hard-headed. I don't like anybody to try to, step to me like, like they're going to put me, in other words, like, I'm all about that confrontation. But you realize when you think about it, when you sit with it a little bit, and that's why I keep talking about the meditation. The meditation helps me to sit with things, to think about situations, not to overreact, not to react quickly, actually not to react at all, always to act like myself and not be a reflection of what somebody else has given to me. I'll read a little bit of his thoughts on this too, and I'll just skip around as I go. In this gently powerful verse, we're encouraged to change the way we view virtually everyone on the planet. Lao Tzu saw the potential for existing harmoniously through living beyond judgment. Thus, the 49th verse of the Tao Te Ching invites us to explore that peaceful world. It's encouraging us to replace our idea of criticizing them with an acknowledgement of us without criticism. Imagine the possibilities for all of humanity if we simply eliminated prejudice and could live in harmony with all below heaven. As you move away from judging yourself, you'll no longer need or want what Lao Tzu calls the fixed mind, because a lot of this comes from our judgments of ourselves. Thus, allegiances that pitted you against the people you thought of as them will begin to dissolve. And that them versus us is a very dangerous mentality we have in the world today about all different kind of things. I'm not getting into politics, I'm not getting into religion, I'm talking humans as the being divided. And like I say, we think of this, we have this thought of us versus them when it's really all us. We're all interconnected. The innumerable categories that helped you organize your labels become totally superfluous and unimportant when you change the way you look at their so-called value. In spite of having been conditioned by the country you were born in, the religion you were assigned at birth, the culture you were immersed in, or even the family who raised you, living beyond judgment becomes your preference. You exist in harmony with the Tao that excludes no one and has no conception of divisions and loyalties. The oneness of the Tao entices you away from any belief that others are separate. This is the basic solution to wars and conflicts. You see, when you stop judging and instead begin to see yourself in others, you can't help but love the uniqueness of everyone as though they were your own children. Then instead of exclusions and allegiances, the awareness of the Tao graces all unimpededly. As your worldview changes, you'll extend goodness to everyone you encounter. You'll find that you can feel non-judgmental compassion for the mistreated, even when their way of seeing things causes you and others pain. You can send out kindness not only in response to kindness, but especially when you're the recipient of cruelty. Why? Because as Lao Tzu reminds you in this poignant verse, the nature of your being is kindness. It's impossible to give to others what you are not. And you are not judgmental. You see yourself in everyone without the need to criticize them or yourself. Change your thoughts and live beyond judgment. And don't see yourself as bad when you falter in this view, or as holy when you succeed. Keep in mind that you're a mix of infinite openness and a finite limitation, as we all are. So sometimes you just need to notice yourself without judging, without then judging yourself. This is what I feel called by Lao Tzu to offer you from this 49th verse of the Tao Te Ching. Change the way you look at yourself. If you pride yourself on having a fixed mind, realize that it relies on conditioning that generally shows up as prejudice. Instead, see yourself as flexible, since being open is the higher virtue. Pride yourself on extending your goodness and kindness to all sides, even when they oppose your pre-programmed learning. Begin to see yourself as a person who notices instead of judges. Avoid taking one position and sticking to it no matter what the circumstances are. Rather, be in harmony with all people, especially those whose opinions conflict with yours. And remember to include yourself when dispensing kindness and non-judgment. Change the way you look at other people. One version of this verse says, I trust men of their word and I trust liars. If I am true enough, I feel the heartbeats of others above my own. Whether you call it judging or labeling, notice when you think of others as evil, lazy, dishonest, stupid, or ugly. Then affirm, I see myself in this person, and I choose to be in a space of goodness rather than judgment. There's a Sanskrit word, Namaste, that can help you with this. When used as a greeting, it roughly translates to, I honor the place in you where we all are one. So silently or verbally begin telling others Namaste in order to remind yourself to love everyone as your own children. And yeah, like I said a little while ago, it's in progress for all of us, because I don't want you to ever, think I'm somebody that I'm not. I'm working on these things. These are things that I really intensely want to change in myself, and I have changed a lot of them. But there's certain people I can't get to that place with. I mean, I have an absolute, maybe it's going to take a couple more lifetimes, but I have an absolute block. There's one thing that it comes like I can't put into that category, and maybe that's where my work lies. But people that hurt kids, I got no forgiveness. I got no looking at them in compassion. And I just got to tell you that because I think to not would not be real. Because I just think of something like that as just heinous, and I just don't know how to get past that part where you can show compassion to that person that is doing one of the most heinous things on earth. So just believe me, I'm not sitting here reading these things to you as some enlightened being. I got my warts, I got my faults, I got all kind of imperfections that I need to work on. So anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this little reading today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. Have a great weekend. I might do another video this weekend, but if not, I'll see you here on Monday. Peace.